Now drive a few hours north into New Mexico. There you will find buildings made mostly from earth, mud, sand, straw, materials most people would dismiss as primitive. Some of those structures are hundreds of years old. A few are approaching 8 centuries. Many were built long before electricity existed, long before air conditioning. Yet, step inside on a brutal summer afternoon and something feels wrong. The temperature is comfortable, sometimes surprisingly comfortable. No compressor humming outside, no cold air blasting from vents, no hidden machinery fighting the heat, just thick walls made from dirt. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If modern materials are so much better, why do they need constant mechanical help? And why can a house built from mud remain comfortable in conditions that force modern homes to consume enormous amounts of energy? Most people think the answer is insulation. They are wrong, because the real secret hidden inside these ancient walls has almost nothing to do with stopping heat. It has everything to do with controlling time. To understand why an 800-year-old mud house can stay comfortable without air conditioning, we first need to examine a strange weakness hiding inside almost every modern wall. Most people assume modern construction solved the problem of heat a long time ago. Better insulation, better materials, better engineering, end of story. But if that were true, something else should also be true. The better our walls become, the less we should depend on air conditioning. Yet the opposite happened. Americans use more air conditioning today than at any point in history. New homes contain more insulation than ever before, yet cooling demand keeps rising. That should make us uncomfortable, because it suggests we may be measuring the wrong thing. Modern construction is obsessed with resistance. Resistance to heat, resistance to cold, resistance to energy loss. The entire industry revolves around a number called R value, higher number, better wall. At least that is what we are told. But R value only measures one thing: how slowly heat moves through a material. It does not measure how much heat a wall can store. It does not measure how long a wall can hold that energy. It does not measure what happens 6 hours later, or 10, or 14. And that omission turns out to be far more important than most people realize. Imagine 2 houses standing side by side in the New Mexico desert. One is built with modern lightweight construction. The other is built with thick earthen walls. At noon, the sun begins attacking both buildings. By 3 p.m., the outside walls are baking in temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Most people assume the modern wall has already won. After all, its insulation rating is higher. But here is the first clue that something is wrong. The temperature outside reaches its maximum around mid-afternoon. Yet many homes remain uncomfortably hot well after sunset. Why? If the heat is gone, why is the discomfort still here? Why do some bedrooms feel hottest at night rather than during the day? Why does the air conditioner often keep running long after the sun has disappeared? The answer has almost nothing to do with insulation, and it has everything to do with something modern building science often treats as secondary, something ancient builders quietly built entire civilizations around. They were not trying to stop heat, they were trying to control when it arrived, and that changes the entire story. Let us assume the modern story is true. Newer materials should make better buildings. Higher insulation ratings should mean greater comfort. That is the logic behind most modern construction. But the desert keeps embarrassing that logic. Walk into parts of New Mexico in July and the contradiction is hard to miss. Outside, the sun turns metal railings too hot to touch. Cars become ovens. Then you step into an old Adobe room and the change is immediate. Not freezing, not artificially cold, just steady, comfortable, and that is the first problem. The building is not winning because a machine is overpowering the climate. It is winning before the machine ever enters the story. Ancient builders did not begin with a theory. They began with discomfort. They knew which rooms made people restless at night. They knew which shelters trapped afternoon heat until everyone wanted to sleep outside. They knew which walls cooled too quickly after sunset and turned cold before morning. That was their laboratory. The human body, a hot afternoon, a cold night, a wall that either helped or failed over generations. Builders in hot, dry regions kept noticing the same pattern. The buildings that felt best were not always the lightest. They were often the heaviest. That sounds backwards. Modern construction tries to reduce mass. Ancient builders kept adding it. More earth, more thickness, more weight, to a modern contractor that looks wasteful. Into someone living under a desert sun, it was survival data. Here is the part that makes the discovery more interesting. A thick wall does not automatically make a good building. If thickness alone were the answer, every heavy structure would feel comfortable, but that is not what happens. A stone building can become punishingly hot. A concrete wall can soak up afternoon heat and throw it into a room long after sunset. Even brick can become a radiator if the design is wrong, so the secret was not simply mass, it was the right kind of mass, used in the right climate, at the right thickness with the right daily rhythm. Adobe had that rhythm. Earth, sand, straw, and water created a wall that did not behave like a thin barrier, it behaved like a slow-moving storage system. That is the betrayal most people miss. The Adobe wall is not impressive because it blocks the desert. It does not. The sun still hits it, the outer surface still heats up, energy still moves into the material. Nothing magical is happening. The wall is doing something more subtle. It is slowing the heat down so much that the building experiences the day out of order. The hottest part of the afternoon does not instantly become the hottest moment inside. The heat gets delayed. By the time that energy reaches the interior surface, the outside air may already be cooling. The enemy arrives late. That is why ancient builders kept returning to Earth. A thin modern wall asks a machine to fight the outside temperature hour by hour. An Adobe wall changes the schedule of the battle. It takes the violence of the afternoon and pushes part of it into the evening, when the desert is already losing heat. Adobe is not magic. It performs poorly when used blindly in wet climates or without proper maintenance, but in hot, dry regions, the principle is brutally effective. The wall becomes a thermal buffer between the body and the weather. Once you see it this way, Adobe stops looking like mud, it starts looking like a device. No motor, no compressor, no refrigerant, no thermostat, yet still capable of changing when heat reaches the human body. That is why the old explanation, thick walls equal insulation, is too small. Insulation tries to slow heat transfer. Adobe does something larger. It stores heat, delays heat, and releases heat when the outside world has already changed. The building is not merely resisting temperature, it is editing time. And that leads to the question that matters most. How long can a wall delay the heat? The key to understanding Adobe is realizing that heat does not move instantly. That sounds obvious, yet most people unconsciously imagine heat moving far faster than it actually does. They imagine sunlight hitting a wall and the wall immediately becoming hot on the inside. That is not how thick earthen walls behave. Imagine the sun rising over the New Mexico desert. By late morning, sunlight is pouring energy into the outer surface of an Adobe wall. The wall begins absorbing that energy immediately. There is no mystery there. Physics predicts exactly that outcome. But the interesting part happens next. The heat does not jump through the wall. It slowly diffuses through millions of tiny particles, grain by grain, layer by layer, hour by hour. That process creates something engineers call thermal lag. Thermal lag is the delay between heat arriving at one side of a wall and reaching the other side. This is where the story becomes surprising. In a lightweight modern wall, that delay may be relatively short. In a thick Adobe wall, it can become dramatically longer, sometimes many hours longer. Think about what that means. Hottest sunlight of the day usually arrives during the afternoon. Around 3 o'clock, the desert may be reaching peak temperature. Most people assume that must also be the hottest moment inside the building, but an Adobe structure often refuses to follow that schedule. The heat entering the wall at 3 o'clock may still be moving through the material hours later. Long after sunset, long after outdoor temperatures begin falling, suddenly the problem looks completely different. Adobe is not defeating heat, Adobe is rescheduling heat. That single idea explains much of its behavior. The afternoon energy does not disappear, it is postponed, delayed, shifted into a different part of the day. And that matters because deserts do not stay hot forever. In desert climates, often experience large temperature swings between day and night. The air can cool rapidly after sunset. By the time the stored heat reaches the interior surface, the environment outside may already be helping remove heat from the structure. In effect, the building has bought itself time. This is why Adobe walls often feel different from lightweight construction. A lightweight building reacts quickly. It heats quickly, it cools quickly, it follows the weather almost in real time. Adobe behaves more like a flywheel. It resists sudden change. Temperatures rise more slowly, temperatures fall more slowly, peaks become smaller, valleys become less severe. Ancient builders had no mathematical model for this phenomenon. yet they clearly observed its effects. They kept building with thick earthen walls because those walls made daily life more stable. Not perfectly comfortable, not magically climate controlled, just noticeably more stable, but thermal lag alone is still not the full explanation, because a wall that delays heat must also store heat somewhere. Which raises the next question. What exactly is happening inside the wall while all that energy is waiting? Thermal lag explains why heat arrives late, but it does not explain where that heat goes while it is waiting. Something inside the wall must be absorbing that energy. Something must be storing it. This is where most explanations stop. They simply say Adobe has thermal mass. That statement is true, but it misses the most important part of the story. Because thermal mass alone is not special. Concrete has thermal mass, stone has thermal mass, brick has thermal mass. Even a giant parking garage has thermal mass, yet nobody describes a parking garage as thermally comfortable. Clearly something else is happening. Imagine leaving a black car in the desert sun. The metal absorbs enormous amounts of energy, but that does not help you. In fact, it makes the problem worse. The stored heat eventually blasts back into the cabin. The storage exists, yet the comfort does not. That distinction matters, because storing heat is only useful if the release happens at the right moment. Ancient builders seem to have discovered this long before they understood the science behind it. During the afternoon, Adobe walls absorb large amounts of energy, and instead of immediately passing that energy into the room, they hold on to it. The wall becomes a temporary reservoir, a thermal savings account. Hour after hour, more energy enters the wall, yet much of it remains trapped inside the material. By itself, that still does not sound impressive. The breakthrough comes when night arrives. Desert temperatures can drop dramatically after sunset. The environment outside begins pulling energy away from the building. Suddenly the wall is no longer fighting extreme heat, it is interacting with a cooler world. This changes everything. A large portion of the stored energy can now leave gradually instead of overwhelming the interior all at once. The wall has effectively spread the heat across time. That may be the simplest way to understand Adobe. It spreads thermal stress across hours instead of concentrating it into a single moment. The result is not maximum cooling. The result is stability. Ancient builders were not trying to create cold buildings. They were trying to eliminate extremes. Not the hottest temperatures, not the coldest temperatures, the swings between them. And this is where modern building culture often misunderstands Adobe. The goal is not efficiency in the way we usually define efficiency. The goal is resilience, a building that changes slowly. At this point, it would be easy to conclude that modern builders simply forgot something important. An ancient wall moderates temperature naturally. It reduces extremes. It remains comfortable without depending entirely on machines. So why did industrial society move away from it? The obvious answer would be failure. Perhaps Adobe simply did not work well enough. Perhaps a better technology replaced it. Perhaps modern materials solved the same problem more effectively. That explanation sounds reasonable. The problem is that history does not really support it. Adobe did not disappear because it suddenly stopped working. What changed was the system surrounding construction. This is the same pattern that appears throughout technological history. The winning technology is not always the one that performs best in a specific category. Often it is the technology that scales best, the technology that can be replicated fastest, the technology that fits industrial systems most easily. Adobe had a problem. It was slow, extremely slow by industrial standards. Thick walls require more material. Thick walls require more labor. Thick walls occupy more space. A wall that is 2 feet thick cannot be sold as usable floor space. A developer sees square footage. An Adobe wall consumes part of that asset. That matters more than most people realize. Then came industrial materials, standardized bricks, steel, concrete, mass production transformed construction. Suddenly buildings could rise faster than ever before. Larger projects became practical. Urban growth accelerated. Time became money in a much more literal way. In that environment, speed gained enormous value. Adobe could not compete on speed, but there was another shift happening at the same time. Cheap energy began changing the rules. Coal, natural gas, electricity, mechanical heating and cooling systems became increasingly common. This changed the design philosophy of buildings. Instead of making the structure solve temperature problems, builders could install machines to solve them instead. The wall became less important. The equipment became more important. This is the real turning point. Adobe was optimized for a world where buildings had to regulate themselves. Modern construction became optimized for a world where machines handled that responsibility. Those are two very different priorities. One prioritizes stability, one prioritizes speed, one treats the building itself as the solution, the other treats the building as a platform for mechanical systems. Neither approach is universally right, neither is universally wrong. The important point is that Adobe was not abandoned because it failed, it was abandoned because the world changed around it, which creates one final twist in the story. Today, energy is becoming expensive again. Grid resilience is becoming a concern again. Extreme temperatures are becoming more common. And suddenly some of the questions ancient builders solved centuries ago are starting to matter again. Which raises a fascinating possibility. What if Adobe was not a dead technology at all? If Adobe truly belonged in the past, the story would end there. It would remain an interesting historical curiosity, a building technique preserved in museums and old villages. Something people admire but no longer use. That is not what happened. In fact, some of the strongest evidence for Adobe comes from the modern world. Because once energy costs became important again, architects started asking old questions. Questions industrial construction had largely ignored for decades. How much comfort can the building provide by itself? How much heating can be avoided instead of generated? How much cooling can be reduced before the air conditioner even turns on? Those questions led many designers back toward thermal mass, not because they wanted to recreate the past, because they wanted measurable results. This is where the story becomes especially interesting. Many modern buildings inspired by Adobe do not actually look ancient. They may use modern windows, modern engineering, modern structural systems, yet the underlying principle remains surprisingly familiar. Use mass to stabilize temperature, use time as a design tool, work with daily temperature cycles instead of fighting them. One of the clearest examples appears in passive solar homes. These buildings are designed to collect solar energy during the day. But collecting energy is only half the challenge. The real challenge is storing it. A large south-facing window can flood a room with sunlight. Without thermal mass, the room quickly overheats. The energy arrives all at once, comfort disappears, add sufficient thermal mass and the behavior changes dramatically. The structure begins storing part of that energy, releasing it gradually over time. Suddenly the building behaves less like a machine and more like a battery. That idea has spread far beyond Adobe itself. Rammed earth construction uses similar principles, earthships use similar principles, many energy-efficient desert homes rely on similar principles. The materials may differ. The appearance may differ. The physics remain remarkably consistent. This creates an unexpected twist. Modern architecture did not completely reject Adobe. In many cases, it quietly absorbed Adobe's most important lesson. The lesson was never really about mud or straw or handmade bricks. The lesson was about thermal storage. The lesson was about thermal timing. The lesson was about stability. Which brings us back to the original contradiction. Why can an 800-year-old mud house remain comfortable while some modern buildings still struggle? The answer is no longer mysterious. Adobe was never competing against modern materials. It was solving a different problem entirely. And in some climates, that old solution remains surprisingly relevant. At the beginning of this story, we started with a contradiction. A modern house filled with advanced technology, and an 800-year-old building made largely from dirt. On paper, the outcome seemed obvious. The modern structure should have won, yet reality told a more complicated story. The Adobe builders were not trying to defeat nature. They were trying to work with it. They understood that the desert changed every hour. They understood that heat was not simply a problem to stop. It was something to manage, something to store, something to delay, something to release at the right moment. But Adobe walls were only half the answer. Ancient builders also learned how to cool entire buildings without air conditioning, and some of their solutions seem almost impossible by modern standards. Those stories are waiting for you in the next videos.